Warning, warning, warning.
How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Sean, and welcome back to, I guess a second upload. And it's been a while, but Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, right? Yeah. I wasn't seen that movie, boys. I wasn't seen it. Got to. I had, I kind of knew a little bit about what was going to happen, but I tried to avoid as many spoilers as I can, and heavy spoilers. People who had already seen the movie, and not the trailers. I actually went in fairly, I guess, with no intentions. I didn't think the movie was going to be anything other than I knew that it was going to be a little bit dark, a little more creepy, a little more horror-esque, which I really didn't get that sense, but no, either way, it didn't really make or break this review I'm getting ready to have. Before we get into it, like, comment, and subscribe. Very, 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 very important. Very important. Must happen. So, okay. Now that all that jazz is out of the way, the review. Did I like it? Yes, I did. I liked it quite a bit. How many movie sins are in there? There's a couple. There's a few points that I want to point out, but let's just go ahead and get the negative out of the way because there is not a lot of negative. Yes, I think that some of the dinosaurs, especially Blue and other dinosaurs, are a little too cartoony. I think if anything, or maybe it's too cartoony and too real at the same time, if that makes sense. Like Blue opens his mouth way too wide, his eyes don't look right, his skin looks too, I guess, like the saturation's increased too much. But I mean, it was the same thing in Jurassic World. They were a little bit different from the Jurassic Park movies, and the CGI doesn't look super years ahead, so I think they're really trying to just make them look a whole lot more colorful than what they are, I guess, for the kids' sake, right? Because Blue's technically a good guy, good dinosaur. So yeah, and then there was Franklin Webb. Now I understand that Franklin Webb and the Asian lady who was a paleo veterinarian, who was also a member of Claire's dinosaur protection group, which I guess took a turn for the good, right? They became technically what Owen was wanting her to be in Jurassic World, like, we got to save these type, be good, be ethical. You can't just be creating endoms, crazy lady, all the time, right? So yeah, I think that there's a bunch of character progression with her, which is really, really good. There wasn't as much character progression for Owen or Franklin. Again, the paleo veterinarian, I think that that her character was really done extremely well. I think Franklin was put in there for early on comic relief when there wasn't a whole lot of comic relief. Just because he's super terrified of everything, he's the textbook computer geek who wants to stay home and doesn't want to go out and mess with the dinosaurs, right, or anything like that. So that being said, take it or leave it. It worked really well in the first half of the movie. Franklin, I definitely can see why she would put a team together like that, except for there wasn't much of a team putting together. It was just, I have to go get Owen, and then, scene cut, and then we're all together, even though half of them were part of her group, right? Anyway, it doesn't really give any much backstory into why Franklin is so good at, plunking in cords, as the Asian girl, the paleo veterinarian, likes to say. But we get it. He's a tech guy, and she's a paleo vet. A paleo vet, now that takes some schooling. We don't really know what he has in his toolkit, Franklin. But it doesn't really matter because the only thing he does is enable her to, Claire to unlock a paddock door or to get into some of the facilities in Isla Nublar. And his character is okay. I don't mind it. I don't want to sit here and rant about his character only, but that was one bad thing, is when they're leaving the island, he gets swarmed up with the poachers. One thing is, these poachers, they all work together. They've all worked together on quite often. I know it's quite a large team, but you would think that they've been working towards this goal for quite some time now. So everybody who's a member of the team should had seen each other at some point. and to know that that they literally tried to shove Franklin and Claire and actually try to kill Owen, but keep Franklin and Claire inside that enclosure and not let them out. Well, you would think that eventually, from the point where he got separated from Owen and Claire, and then the rope being put into his Franklin's arms, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, and then him being swept up into the hubbub of the poachers and everything they've got going on, moving the dinosaurs. From that point on, you don't see him for like 40 minutes. 40 minutes, he gets handed ropes, gets towed to go onto a boat and, you know, work like the poachers are working, and which gives Claire and Owen and the Asian vet lady just enough time to completely go unnoticed while they're saving Blue. Okay, so it it doesn't make any sense. And then where does he resurface at? 40 minutes later, when they're inside Lockwood's mansion and Henry Wu's laboratory, they're all freaking out because everything's done happened and the climax is already there upon us. And Henry Wu turns to Franklin. Okay, Franklin, who is now dressed as a scientist and doesn't look like a poacher and have the rope in his hands. He's now dressed like a scientist, apparently been willingly and unnoticingly undercover this entire time. And maybe that would work with the poachers because there's so many of them. You know, you just kind of, you know, faces running the crowd, right? But in B.D. Wong's and Henry Wu's laboratory, all of those people is pretty much hand selected by him. He's not going to let anybody in that lab that doesn't, you know, who won't hold those Indom or Indoraptor secrets near to their heart. So he would immediately notice that, hey, you're not one of us. Who are you? Why are you here? Right? But no, he turns to me and goes, I need raptor blood. Go get the raptor blood. What are you doing, scientist? Right? But Franklin's not really a scientist. And that was my biggest gripe, is just, you know, it was a movie sin. Like it was just to force the narrative and to further along the story and allow Claire and Owen to get out of the Rex enclosure and to Blue. You know, it was very obvious, and then he's just gone again out of nowhere, and then just magically pops back up right at the right time. So that's kind of a movie scene. I don't like that, but I've rambled on about that for way too long. What is the last thing that I didn't really like too much about it is that the whole thing is rushed. The part on Nublar and the part in Lockwood's mansion, it was too rushed. You couldn't get enough backstory for Lockwood, his genetic daughter, and everything that's going on between Lockwood, Maserati, and John Hammond's past. There's not enough of that going around, and not once at the dinosaur auction did Maserati pop up, and not the guy who owned Maserati, because of course he's dead, right? But people who are giving out all those class action lawsuits of Maserati and stuff like that. Like, there's somebody who's a CEO now. There's somebody who's in charge. You would think that person would walk into that place and be like, all this is property of Maserati Corp. You can't have it and you can't sell it, right? So, that being said, I liked it. Those are the only three things I could possibly find that I did not like about it. Other people will not like, won't like about it. They're like, oh no, it's not Jurassic Park anymore. It's not Jurassic Park, and people keep going back to that. But oh, all the dinosaurs are out now. All the dinosaurs are out. Like they're causing havoc, and they're going to cause havoc. But it seems so peaceful when they're just running off into the wild, you know, and destroying habitats, and you know. But that's what the whole thing is about. All the previous movies have been in the park. It's been in the park, and Jurassic World has been foreshadowed since the very release of the title, Jurassic World. It's not Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic Nublar. It's not Jurassic Island. It's Jurassic World, and eventually the dinosaurs will get out. They will get out. It's too rushed. I do think that it could have been 2 movies. That could have been a complete arc, really, and they could have left it off for all the dinosaurs to be in the wild for, like, you know, a revamp so many years from now, or, you know, spin-offs, however you want to do it. But it was good. I liked it a lot, and people who have problems with the new Jurassic World really just don't take into consideration how far advanced the genetics were in 1989 in the canon, and then how much further advanced the genetics are now within the movies. And that explains the intelligence. It explains, you know, the hybrids. It explains so much. And if you really just stop and think about it, a lot of it does make sense. I do think that Boyana did a really good job directing it. I do think, again, it was a little rushed. They try to force people into situations, and there was, you know, time gaps where people just aren't seen and you don't know what they're doing. So those are that's stuff that I don't like. Other than that, I didn't get a sense that it was like a super horror movie. But again, I like it. There's not much I can say. There's plenty of times where I was happy about it. They didn't overemphasize the mosasaur. There's so much good in this movie that far outweighs the bad, to the point where I can't even, you know, people will nitpick on like, why didn't the brachiosaur, you know, jump into the water instead of just sitting there? Like, it could have been either or. It doesn't matter. Like, for all we know, it could have fell sideways into the water and blah 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 blah. Like, you know, it's not that big a deal. They really did a good job. I liked it. I think that you know, the dinosaurs would have to move off of Nublar eventually, because it's been 2 or 3 wrecked parks there. And yeah, eventually they're either going to go to the mainland or to a different enclosure, blah blah blah. I think it worked. I think it was pretty good. I didn't mind it. It was good. I mean, I would definitely go see the third one. And I think it was better than the first one. I really do. So, that being said, that's really all I got for you. I guess out of a 1 to 10 for this movie, I would probably have to give it probably a 7. 7 is pretty good, I think. Yeah. So not much else I can say about that, guys. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget, I'm in the comment section after every single video. I love you guys like always, and I'll see you in the next one.
You had me at hello. Oh, baby.